大家好，欢迎大家收看今天的 MCTV， 我是一红班的周伟金。现在让我为大家报告一下今天的天气。今天大致多云，下午部分时间有阳光，吹东风4级，稍后5级，最高气温27度，最低23度，相对湿度为65%到85%。预料未来几天大致天晴，最高气温大概27度，最低23度。现在让我们回顾一下这2天重要的新闻吧。香港社会服务联会早前公布2011年全港贫穷数据，社联分析分区贫穷状况，发现18区之中，贫穷率最高的首6个地区依次分别为东涌、深水埗、天水围、葵青、观塘和北区。社联行政总裁方敏生指出，各区贫穷状况差异大，致贫成因各异。例如深水埗区长者人数占整体人口17%，是第2人口老化的区域。离岛区是最多儿童的地区，14岁或以下的人口占15%，所以政府应推行地区为本的灭贫策略，制定有针对性的灭贫措施。今天的天气和新闻报告完毕，请大家继续收看本集的 MCTV。
Hi everyone, welcome to MCTV. I'm Candy from 3B.
And I'm Jenna from 4B. Candy, have you noticed any big changes anywhere in our school this year?
Let me see. Actually, yes, the school library is newly renovated and is now bigger, brighter and comfortable. I love going up there to read and borrow books.
Good for you! Reading is really a great habit and very important. There's really so much we can get out of reading. Have you ever thought about why we should all read books regularly? In today's program, we'd like to share with you the top 10 reasons why we should all read.
Reading makes you more knowledgeable. It is often said that books are a sea of knowledge, or that books are like treasures. Books can teach you about something or to do something. If you want to learn about another culture, how something works, or why something is a certain way, there's always a book that can tell you all you need to know. Books can also let us learn about people, their thoughts and attitudes, and their experiences. You never know what knowledge is hidden in the pages. Reading sets you free. Reading is liberating. Books force you to use your imagination, and imagination has no limits. While reading, you can see things with your mind, and your imaginative power is turned on. That's because a book can take you to places, times, and situations you do not experience in your real life. You can see things and experience things through the eyes of a spaceman, an explorer, or Detective Sherlock Holmes, instead of just being yourself. Reading lets you escape from the stress of everyday life. When you read, You're in another world and can forget about the many duties and worries you have. Reading is relaxing and calms your mind. You can have a peaceful and quiet moment with just yourself and not be disturbed by anyone. It's just you and the world inside your book, nothing else. Reading is great fun. Most children who read a lot read not because they see reading a book as studying, but they read because the characters, the stories, the details in the books are so much fun to read. Authors write stories that are so creative, exciting, and mysterious. Characters that are so witty, funny, or interesting that makes reading great fun. A lot of people smile or even laugh out loud when they are reading. Studying may be a responsibility, but reading is surely an enjoyment. Reading is the best way to learn about the structure and use of a language. A book is a silent but powerful teacher. You learn grammar, expressions, and sentence structures without even knowing you're learning them. That's because you absorb the language while you're reading. If you read a lot, you'll have a good sense for grammar and language when you write and when you speak. You'll know when something doesn't look right or when it sounds correct. A student who doesn't read but only relies on studying grammar will still make many mistakes because it is impossible to remember everything only with your memory. But a student who reads a lot can write compositions with much better grammar. That's because the correct use of the language goes into your body and bones as you read, which is really the most effective way. Reading expands your vocabulary. Would you like a bigger vocabulary? One of the best things about reading is that your vocabulary grows while you're reading any book, whether it's a storybook or whether it's a book on history, food, or anything else. When you read, you come across new words, and even though you don't look up the words in a dictionary, you are, without you knowing it, learning those words because they're connected to the other sentences and their meanings. As you continue your reading habit, you'll see the words again and again and feel their meanings again and again. And soon, you'll own all those words and they become part of your own active vocabulary, now much bigger and stronger. Students who read a lot have a much larger vocabulary than those who only learn words from school. And those getting the highest marks in compositions are always those who have a big vocabulary that impresses teachers. When you read, you are not alone. Books make good friends. When there are no friends around, you don't need to be bored or depressed. It is said that a good book on your shelf is like a friend that never goes away. So whenever you feel lonely, just pick up a good friend from your shelf or from the library and have a good time with him. Readers are smarter. Studies have shown that children and teenagers who have a taste for reading have higher IQs compared to their classmates who are not in the habit of reading. That's actually no wonder considering how much you can learn from books. The reading students are also more creative and are better students in their schools. So it is extremely important that you acquire the habit of reading books when you're still young. Reading is the cheapest kind of great entertainment. It costs nothing to read. Well, if you visit a library anyway. The school library spends tens of thousands of dollars on new books every year, and you don't need to pay a cent to get your hands on all those great books. If that's not a good deal, what is? Just pop into the library and grab a good read for yourself. We bought them especially for you. You look good when you read. Have you ever noticed that people are more good-looking when they're reading? You should never read just to look good, of course, but when you read, you automatically look more handsome or prettier and very intelligent. Your classmates may call you a bookworm, but inside, they wish they read like you and feel respect for you because you read. Only smart people read after all, and you'll feel smart as you do it, which is just as important as looking good.
Wow, I hope all of us now know why reading is so important. Jenna, are there any activities you can think of that can promote reading?
Actually, Mr. told me about a competition which is very popular in America as well as other countries. It's called Battle of the Books.
Battle of the Books? You mean battle like fighting? Let's see what that is all about.
Difficult enough to remember the fine details of one book you've read, but after reading 21, how do you keep your facts straight? That's the challenge of these Chicago Public Schools students who are taking part in the Battle of the Books program. As part of the competition, teams of 4th to 6th graders and 7th to 8th graders read 20 books and one digital book. The Chicago Public Schools Department of Libraries chooses the books from Rebecca Caudle award-winning titles and recommendations from previous Battle of the Books participants.
I think that most of the kids who join are fairly big readers to begin with. I think it helps them grow. I think they read books they may never have chosen on their own, but they read because they're part of Battle, and that opens them up to read more of those types of books in the future.
The students work toward the final event, a one-day competition where one team per grade level from each school participates in 3 preliminary rounds, answering questions about the books. The idea for the competition was brought to the attention of the Chicago Public Schools back in 2005 by Carol Josephowitz.
This is something that my own children did when they were in Elmhurst, Illinois, and they were participants in a Battle of the Books program. And I just thought this was the best program to help them become great learners and better readers.
Battle of the Books encourages reading and teamwork. Up to 6 students are on a team, with one designated as the captain who gives the official answer. What makes this quite the challenge is the questions are completely random and pertain to any of the 21 titles.
It's basically memory. There's really not much inferential at all because the answer has to be on the page itself.
Some of the easier ones are things that are like really important to the story, and so they have a lot of those. But they also have a lot of small detail things.
The teams at Andrew Jackson Language Academy began preparing for the battle in January. Coaches Sue Nibbs and Kathy Myers drilled the students, asking questions which the students pulled together.
It's hard because a lot of these books, you can find questions on possible questions on every single page.
I reread the books a lot so I can get the details stuck in my head, and then I write the questions, and sometimes I take additional notes for myself on the books.
This year, nearly 1,400 students from 115 Chicago public schools took part in the battle, which was held at Chicago Vocational Career Academy.
I don't think there's anything I would rather do than help kids become better learners and readers. And so it just is a great thing that the Department of Libraries allows me to volunteer and help them with this program.
Mayor Daley stopped by to thank the volunteers and compliment the students for their efforts. With author Claudia Guadalupe Martinez posing the questions, the 7th and 8th grade finalists, teams from LaSalle Language Academy, Jackson Language Academy, and Solomon School each had to answer 10 questions. Points are given for both the question and the name of the book's author. With the scores added up, it was Solomon 3rd, LaSalle 2nd, and Jackson 1st.
We thought we'd get through the first round from Lucy and Mari and Hannah's experience since they've been last year. They told us how easy the first round was. We started to worry though once we got into the second and third round though. We didn't expect we'd get to the final round, but we kept hoping and we got into the final round.
I was happy just to get in the finals. That was incredible. That would have been enough, but first place is icing on the cake.
It feels amazing, like really amazing.
Now I know what Battle of the Books is all about. That looked really fun and exciting. I think Battle of the Books can create a reading atmosphere in school because everybody's reading and preparing for the battle.
I couldn't agree more. While we are at the topic of reading, Jenna, what kinds of books do you like to read? I mean, do you have a favorite book? That takes you a long time. Let's take a look at what other students like to read.
最中意睇咩書啊？
我最中意睇呢本書，個名叫做《世紀三國》。呢本書裏面，佢講述咗有關點解三國嘅形成啦，同埋好多詳解關於少少三國嘅事情啦。我點解中意呢本書呢？原因係因為呢本書裏面有好豐富嘅漫畫啦，同埋佢亦都有大量嘅注解俾啲圖畫。呢本書圖文並茂，我好中意。
Do you have a favorite book?
My favorite book is Mathematics or Calculus.
Why do you like it so much?
It's because mathematics is interesting, and when I can do the problem, I will feel very successful.
Hi. What book are you reading?
I'm reading Harry Potter.
Is it your favorite book?
Yes, Harry Potter is my favorite book.
Why?
I love it because it is very creative. There are many magical things in this book. For example, magic stone can change all the metals into gold, or an owl can help you to send letters. I also think J.K. Rowling is a great writer.
同學，你中意睇咩書啊？
我中意睇呢本《狼圖騰》，因為裏面講述咗咧狼嘅習性同埋佢所比喻翻各個朝代皇帝所奪得政權同埋皇后奪得政權所用嘅手段，可能都係嚟自狼裏邊，而且佢仲講述咗點解草原會沙漠化。
My favorite book is 11. I love this book because it is exciting and interesting. 11 is an adventure story. I love reading adventure story.
我最中意嘅呢本書叫做《這個男孩不太冷》。呢本書嘅前傳故事曲折感人，向讀者展示咗人間嘅真情故事，好有教育性。我最中意本書嘅名叫《暗黑童話》。我最中意呢本書係因為我比較中意恐怖懸疑嘅書，而且呢本書嘅內容好曲折離奇，好精彩，好好睇。
My favorite book is Sherlock Holmes because I love detective stories. The details are written well, and I can imagine the scenes of the crime. I think it's a good book.
Now I know my favorite book. It's Dear John by Nicholas Sparks. It is a must-read, I think. I couldn't put it down when I was reading it.
Good for you! Now it's time we show everyone the many new books the school library has bought for children to read this year. I'm sure you'll have something you'll like it.
That's a lot of new books. I especially love new books because they're so new. The books are available in the library. Hey, what are we waiting for? Let's run before other students take what I want.
Hey, Bye! I'll take my favorite book.